Welcome to twoquestions.tv. Today's coaching moment is all about networking. Welcome to twoquestions.tv. I'm Susan Baroncini-Moe. Today I thought I'd talk a little bit about networking. How often have you gone to an event and not known how to build connections with others or felt awkward doing it? How often have you wondered why it's so hard for you, but it seems so easy for other people? Or how often have you gone into a networking situation, maybe a party where there are people from your industry, or a networking event, or a lunch, or a conference, and the first thing people do is shove their card in your face? Or people give you their card in an event, and you give them their card at the event, and then within the next week, you're starting to get emails from them. Oh my gosh, it's all wrong. It's all wrong, okay? People network poorly all the time. They want to shove this card in your face. They want to tell you what they do. There's a very me-centric environment in the networking space. So how do you network properly? What are some things that you can do to improve your networking experience? Well, I'll tell you that my networking experience has improved dramatically since I took a little more control over conversations and started out a conversation by directing them in a different place from what do you do. Now, I picked this up when I went with my husband to Uruguay, and I don't think any of my husband's family actually know what I do for a living. And the reason is that it's just not common to ask someone, what do you do? Now, people know, but it's really more about getting to know the person. And the social exchange down there is really more about talking about sports, politics, hobbies, cooking, interests, really not about what you do for a living, because it's just not considered something that's super important. And it's not really the way in which they interact with each other and engage each other. They're really more focused on getting to know each other. And so when I experienced that for the first time, I really thought this is a great way to be. This is a great way to connect with people, is to not focus on what do you do. And if you think about it, in the United States, when we first meet people, it's almost always the first question we ask. So what do you do for a living? That's what we're asking. What's your job? And how much do you really learn about a person if you ask them about their job? Plus, if you're not at work or you're not at an official networking event, but you're at a party and you're around a pool, why are you asking someone about their job? Do you want to talk about work when you're at a party, when you're having fun? No. So in networking, as well as in social engagements, I find it's much better not to ask what people do for a living. Eventually you'll get around to it, but we build relationships and connections with people based on other things. So what are your hobbies? What do you enjoy doing? Have you been on vacation recently? Do you do any work with nonprofits in the area? What's your story? That's one of my favorite questions, is what's your story? You can tell a lot about a person when they start telling you your story. A lot of times people will go to their career story first, because that's a story we're used to telling, but it doesn't have to be a career story. And in fact, you can even put constraints on it. So what's your non-career story? Like, what's the story of your life? What's really important to you? These are interesting questions, and they surprise people and they make you memorable. And by asking questions like that, you become someone they remember, they think about. And it's funny, the research shows, oddly enough, that the people who are considered to be the most interesting are actually not the people who talk about themselves the most. So I find it's a funny dance when I encounter someone who also knows about this research and also has a penchant for asking questions. We try to out-question each other, and so we try not to be the person who's talking about themselves too much. It's an interesting way to connect with people, and I think that if we were to do one thing to make networking more impactful, more productive, more useful, it would be to help people to connect with one another on a human level, on a basic human level, to learn to get to know each other, to learn to like each other, to trust each other, not just because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. As you've seen on an early episode of this show, I'll link to it in the cards for today. It's not actually that people do business with people they know, like, and trust over other people. It's actually all things being equal. So when the service is equal and the price is equal, then people will generally choose to do business with someone they know, like, and trust over someone they don't. That doesn't mean that if your price is sky high and somebody knows, likes, and trusts you, but there's an alternative competitor who does great work too, and they're a lot cheaper, that the person's going to choose you because they know, like, and trust you. It doesn't work that way. It also doesn't mean if their work is better than yours, but you aren't as good as them, but the people know, like, and trust you, they're going to come to you. It just doesn't work that way. So it's all things being equal. People will choose to do business with people they know, like, and trust. The reason that we talk about building human connections and relationships is because it's really important to put all your ducks in a row, to do the best that you can to forge those relationships so that people, when all things are equal, will choose to do business with you. So the next time you're in a networking function, let's say, whether it's a party where there are people in your industry, or it's an event that is specifically designed for networking, or you're at a conference or a lunch or whatever, try getting to know people as human beings. Use the question, so what's your story? What's your favorite thing to do on a Saturday morning? Oh my gosh, we're in networking. How'd you find out about this event? Learn about the people, learn about their experience, and connect with them. And you'll find that your networking time will have a much higher return on the investment. That's your coaching moment for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.